Exciting news this week. It looks like we're getting 3 new Necron detachments. But how good will they be? That's right, Christmas came early for Necron players when GW announced last weekend that we could be getting new detachments for 40k. In this video, we're going to look at where this information comes from, how many detachments we could get, and when they might be released. We'll also discuss, will they be any good, what the new detachments could look like, and what it all means for Necron players. You ready for this one? Let's get stuck in. So Games Workshop announced new Necron detachments as part of its big preview show for the World Championships of Warhammer last weekend. And as part of that announcement, they confirmed they are publishing a book containing 6 detachments in total, and that's split between Space Marines and Necrons. Now, this book is one of 4 being published to support an exciting new narrative campaign called 500 Worlds, and this will see Captain Titus from the Space Marine video games leading the defense of the 500 Worlds of Ultramar against the nefarious Necron invasion. The Necrons are led by a new destroyer lord called Necrosaur Amentar. Believed by some to be the origin of the destroyer curse, Amentar's goal is to reunite all the shards of the Nightbringer Catan so he can resurrect them as the god of death. There's a bunch of new minis being released to support the 500 Worlds campaign, including a new Titus and Friends box, Amentar itself, and Necron players are getting a combat patrol style discount box of Necron destroyers called a battalion box. And of course we're getting that new Nightbringer model too. So the first question to ask is, how many detachments are we getting? All GW has confirmed so far is that there will be 6 in total. Now, some people have wryly predicted on social media that Necrons will get 1 and Space Marines will get 5 because Space Marines always get everything. But I don't believe that's the case. I honestly think GW will have to split it 50-50. I think we're going to get 3 each. The second question that has cropped up is, when are we going to see these? And the answer again is we're not sure yet. GW has not given us a date. But we can take an educated guess, and here's how. So if we look back at the summer preview show for guidance, this was when they announced Kill Team Tomb World. So that was announced in July and it went on sale in September. And in the same vein, the Space Marine minis that they revealed in the same preview show had a similar 2-month timeline from showcase to launch. On that basis, it could be this side of Christmas, but my best guess is it will probably be January at the earliest. So start saving up now because Necron players could be in for a very costly new year. A natural follow-up question to that is, will these detachments be any good? Some cynics on social media have already been saying that these will just be leftovers, the rejects that never made it into our codexes in the first place. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this is an important narrative campaign for GW, and therefore it will have put some thought into these detachments. I think it also depends on what your definition of good is. What I mean by that is this is a narrative campaign. As I've said, it's got a story arc. So I would expect these detachments to reflect that story first and foremost. Whether they're also going to be competitively good remains a separate question. My personal prediction is I think at least one of these detachments will be good. GW has a habit of ramping things up towards the end of an edition of 40k. We're reaching those end times now, and therefore it would be a great opportunity for Games Workshop to have some fun with Necrons. So we could get something that's absolutely bonkers. Moving on from there, let's examine what these detachments could look like. Now, this is not inside information, this is something of a guessing game, but based on recent detachments that Games Workshop has launched, I think we're taking educated guesses rather than just, purely guessing. The first one I've entitled Amentar's Army. I sincerely hope Games Workshop can come up with a better title than that. And this one I see revolving around Amentar providing buffs to nearby units. I think possibly we could see them gain an army-wide buff if Amentar is your warlord. This would be the same as the new Imperial Fist detachment. If Lysander is your warlord, you gain this army-wide buff. In addition, given that Amentar looks very much like an Ophidian, Maybe there'll be some deep strike shenanigans where units can be set up next to Amintar or closer to the enemy than 9 inches. I mean, we've seen similar for Death Guard Terminators and also for some Tyranid units recently, so there is definitely an opportunity there. Number 2 is entitled Annihilation Legion Reborn, and I know a lot of you would love to see this. Me too, actually. So let's take a look. I mean, I think it's fair to say that Annihilation Legion is one of our weakest detachments. But with Amintar being a Destroyer Lord, this gives Games Workshop the perfect opportunity to replace it with a better Destroyer-focused detachment. I would like to see something that is more of a combined arms version of Annihilation Legion, that includes strats and enhancements for Locusts as well as Scorpex and Ophidians. Or, if it is melee-focused, give us the good melee buffs. I want Advance and Charge or Fight on Death on a 2+. I want access to Lance, and I want to keep the 6-inch pylon strat from Annihilation. And could we also get some kind of army rule around battle-shocking nearby enemy units? That would kind of fit with this terrifying Destroyer theme. As an aside, watch this one closely. If we do get this detachment, watch to see if it does include Locust Destroyers and Locust Lords. If there is nothing in there for them, then there is a good chance they are going to be ignored in 11th edition. I've got a funny feeling about this, that they might just get kind of pushed out, moved to Legends. But on the flip side, if there is stuff in this detachment that buffs those units, that is a very good sign for me that they will continue into 11th edition and hopefully will get new models. The third and final one could potentially break the game, in my opinion, and I've called this Pokemon Multiball. Now, there's lots of chatter about this already because GW made it clear that Amintar already owns multiple shards of the Nightbringer. Could we get a detachment where you could field more than one Nightbringer? Now, while it's possible, I don't actually want this for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the new Nightbringer is likely to be at least the same price as the Void Dragon. Now, MSRP, that's £80 sterling, $130 or 105 euros. And I think it would be a bit much to expect Necron players to buy more than one, especially when this would be the only detachment in which you could use more than one. Secondly, this model is already going to be in high demand as the collector-painter demographic will want it as well as Necron players. Therefore, Necron players buying multiple models could cause a serious supply-demand imbalance. That aside, this is what I think is more likely to happen. Now, of course, we could get Pokemon Multiball, but I think this is more the route that Games Workshop is likely to take. What I think is that Amintar will be able to summon the Nightbringer to his side. So the Nightbringer is in your army, but you can move him effectively to be next to Amintar and then do terrible things to your opponent. So effectively more repositioning and deep strike shenanigans, I guess, almost working in the same way as a Monolith ability. There could also be bonuses for the Nightbringer if it is not within a certain range of another Necron unit to encourage you to kind of yeet it up the board to attack your opponent. And this will be similar to something we've seen in the recent Custodes detachment, Lions of the Emperor. In addition, could we also get something around the Nightbringer gaining an aura, either to buff nearby destroyer units or debuff nearby enemies? I would love to see that. So, what are my final thoughts? Well, regardless of whether these detachments are any good in your opinion, I think it's brilliant that we get new ways to play Necrons. It's always fun to get more ways to play. On top of that, the models that we're getting, Necrosaur, Amintar, and the new Nightbringer, they are centerpiece minis that will grace any battlefield. They're beautiful. Most importantly, I think this underlines GW's commitment to our faction. They have chosen Necrons to be the baddies in the kind of end game for 10th edition. We are the nemesis of Captain Titus in this massive narrative arc that's going to carry us through the new year. And I think that's really exciting, and it's also really comforting that Games Workshop still really values us as a faction. Now, Necrons remain a very popular faction. We've got a very wide player base, and GW knows if it keeps us happy, it will continue to sell a lot of plastic crack. While Space Marines will always remain the poster boys of 40k, every hero story needs a villain. And right now, that is the mighty Undying Legions, and long may it last. As always, we put this question out on social media to ask you guys what detachments you would like to see, and we had an absolutely enormous response. This generated a huge amount of engagement, and I'm really, really appreciative of it. While I've been speaking now, your name should have appeared on the screen. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to engage with me. and it's really appreciated. In addition, a big thanks, of course, to my YouTube channel members and Patreons. Your names should also appear on the screen right now. Once again, I really do appreciate this. I know I keep saying this, but the channel wouldn't exist without you guys. It really helps me to be able to make these videos, so thank you so much. That about wraps things up for this video. Remember to let me know in the comments what detachments you would like to see. And in the meantime, I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you.